I study architecture in Peru. I'm originally from Peru. And I will go back to my days at school. I was really bad at hand drafting. Very bad.
Yep.
So I used to hire friends from school to do the stuff for me. Until I actually took a trip to New York. My brother was living in New York. I was at sunny New York, the State University of New York at Binghamton, upstate New York. And I was taking English classes. I was walking by one room one day, and literally, I was walking by, door open. I went by, and I took 2 steps back, and there was a guy, a professor, with a TV screen this big or a monitor this big with AutoCAD in there, a drawing. So I stepped back and look at him, and he looked at me and he said, "Can I help you?" And I was like, "What is that?" I took 2 years at school, and then I went to New York. So I was like in the middle of school. At that time, I was kind of, architecture might not be for me because of
the drawing
and all that stuff. So the guy looked at me and said, that is AutoCAD. And I was like, Auto what? AutoCAD. You, rather than doing this on drawings in paper by hand, you do it on the computer. So that took me to take a couple of AutoCAD classes at the school. And then eventually, after like a year or so, I decided to go back home, to return home and continue architecture. But I was already hooked to technology. I said, I'm not going to be hand drafting anymore. I'm going to be using AutoCAD.
Okay, I already have a question real quick.
Sure, go ahead.
So if you were in the architecture stuff and that was all hand drafting, but then you saw a CAD class, was the architecture class at that time not talking or teaching about the CAD?
Zero. So I'm heading there.
Cool.
So
Yeah,
I went back.
Okay.
I went back to the School of Architecture back in Peru, and I said I'm going to do pretty much everything in using AutoCAD, using computers. AutoCAD at a time, Matt, you can actually do 3D by connecting 3D coordinates. So you will need to provide the X, Y, and Z coordinate of a point, the X, Y, and Z of another one, and AutoCAD will draw a line in 3D. It's not like now today. After that, it came the masses in which you draw a polygon and you extrude it. So I was doing a bunch of different classes at school using AutoCAD now in 3D. There were no class. At the School of Architecture, there were only 2 guys using AutoCAD. In the entire university, 1 additional guy in the School of Engineering, which of course caused me a lot of issues with teachers because they were telling me, you are an artist. You need to use your hand.
Yes.
And I was like, I'm not an artist. I mean, I want to use technology, so I'm more, I can speed things up. So a side note, my friends at school will be spending the entire weekend switching drawings from one scale to another.
Yeah.
I will just print it out in a different scale and go party the entire weekend.
Yeah.
So that is when I started with technology. So back in the day, eventually what happened was I got a job on an engineering company, my last year and a half from school, in which I actually helped the engineering and architectural division to switch from paper to AutoCAD. And eventually I opened a CAD business in Peru, bought a couple of plotters, and we were providing services to engineering companies.
Yeah.
So that was kind of the start.
That's awesome.
AutoCAD 2 point something, I guess, back in the day.
Nice and early.
Yeah.
So then what happened?
Then what happened?
Which I would assume it sounds like maybe a similar story going from hand drafting to CAD, where then at some point it went from CAD to BIM?
To BIM.